experts and thought leaders. When you think of McKinsey, what do you think of? Love them or loathe them, I think they're known as a thought leader. And the reason that they're known as a thought leader is that they have incredible amount of knowledge on AI, tech, talent, New Jersey, pandemic recovery. It's everything they've learned. It's all the skills they have, the experience they have. And that's why people go to McKinsey. You couldn't be further from the truth. The reason that McKinsey is so well known as a thought leader is not because of their knowledge. It's because of, well, let me show you. This is about a McKinsey survey. This central piece on the pandemic recovery is a McKinsey report. This McKinsey program has shared the knowledge. So the reason McKinsey is so successful is nothing to do with their knowledge. It's because the company is brilliant at making its knowledge tangible. And that's my goal for you in this short session today. How can I help you to see the importance not of your knowledge? That is not, it's not up for question. You are brilliant at what you do. You're brilliant at what you know. The key is, how do you share that knowledge with others? And how do you have other people know you as the source of that knowledge? Your knowledge is this fluid mass of information in your head or in the heads of all of your people. What we need to do today is focus on how do we make that knowledge a tangible asset? Because thinking too about this word asset, it has very specific meanings. An asset is something that will generate cash flow for you. It will improve sales. It has economic value, and it will deliver future benefit for you, for your business. So we need to make sure that people see your knowledge. We need to make sure that your knowledge is tangible in ways that they can appreciate and in ways that will deliver this economic value for you, for your business moving forward. I hope that makes a degree of sense. Let's look at some practical ways now of doing that. And of course, I want you to be thinking about the single most important way of making your knowledge tangible, and that's by writing a book. A book is very clearly a tangible asset. And much more than that, it will not just attract companies to you looking for products and services. A book will attract other influencers, other thought leaders who are looking to connect with you because of the very specialism that you have. Through the book, they know you exist. Journalists, media looking for experts to interview. Your book helps journalists and media to find you. Associations, firms looking for keynote speakers will find you through your book. Podcasters, bloggers looking for people to interview will find you through your book. Their business model depends on finding people to speak to on a regular basis. And let me explain why that is. And I'm going to do that by reminding you of the work of Peter Drucker, amazing journalist who became a fantastic management thinker because he tangibilized, is there such a word? He tangibilized his knowledge. He wrote it down. He captured it not just in journals, but in book form. Listen to this. He said, the aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. And that's brilliant for us as thought leaders, because we don't want to be seen to be hawking our wares. We want to be seen as thought leaders, writing, crafting our work, talking about sharing our knowledge. Let's explore this a bit further. He said, the aim of marketing is to know and understand customers so well that the product or the service that we have fits them and sells itself. That's what a book does. Let's look at this in a little more detail. Looking over here on the left-hand side, the potential readers of your book will find your book on a platform somewhere and will be filtered, will self-select. Your book will help them to reframe their worldview. They'll see the world differently when they read your book, and it attracts those ideal people to you and repels everybody else. And that's an important part of writing a book, is saying this is right for this kind of person and not right for that kind of person. So what you find as people get towards the end of the book is that your ideal readers, your ideal community, your ideal clients will find you, and everybody else just won't be interested because your service, your knowledge just won't be appropriate for them. A book is a fantastic filtering mechanism, but we have to get your book into their hands. How do we do that? And that's where the 3 practical steps come in. So, of course, you should write a book. let me give you those 3 practical steps that will help to get your book in front of the right kinds of people. And the first thing I want you to do is, when you're thinking about what content do I put into this book, I want you to interview people. I know you've got a tremendous amount of knowledge in your head or in your collective heads, but you also need to speak to the men and women around you, the experts, the other contributors, perhaps even clients who've gone through your particular process. You need at least 20, maybe 30 interviews with the men and women that will create or give you the stories to populate your book. My workflow is to start, though, with video. I record a video interview. I do a Zoom interview with people. If I'm face to face, I have a camera. And so my video, the behind the scenes video, goes onto YouTube, which is still a humongous search engine. You could take the audio from the interview and create a podcast, a series of podcasts with interviews of the men and women who matter to you, who make a difference, who help you to tell your stories. Put those on iTunes or Google Podcasts or whatever. You just put it in one place, and then the system, the web will spread your podcasts everywhere. So even in the research phase, as you're gathering your data, post these interviews periodically in the 6 to 9 months before you get to write and publish your book. Then in the next phase, of course, you sit down and write the book, including those stories, and the book will be a hardback on Amazon. Somebody orders your book, they find it because they're searching for it, they order your book that night, it's printed, and the following day it's sent to them. It's an amazing, amazing service. And the quality of Amazon print on demand in hardback now, not just in paperback, is outstanding. Put your book on Amazon in the hardback form and on Kindle on the ebook form. You can make your book available as a paperback, but we urge you to save that till 6 months or so, maybe 9 months, maybe a year after you publish the hardback, because that just gives you another opportunity to refresh your readers' minds, your community's minds, that your book exists. And then one of the really great things you can do is take that, whatever it might be, let's say it's 50,000 words in your book, and break it up into 1,000-word chunks, and that can populate your blog for the next year. So for the 6 to 9 months before you publish your book, you're sharing the research interviews, the raw research interviews in audio and video format. Then you publish the book, and you share that message a lot. You perhaps put physical copies of the book in the hands of the clients that you have or that you want to immediately attract to you. But then over the next 6 to 9 months after the launch of the book, you're releasing the material again in a more sophisticated way, written, polished, crafted, blogs, articles. So a book is a fantastic investment of your time and effort, not just in the tangible book that you have at launch, but you can completely erase the treadmill of death, the content treadmill of death, because you can share the material that you've created in your book over the coming weeks and months. After the launch of your book, one of the things I'm going to recommend is that you turn your book into an audiobook. A lot of people consume audiobooks when they're commuting, flights somewhere, in the gym. So it's still one project. You've still written only one book, but the material, the output, the tangible output from your book, the assets that you're creating, nothing like it. You're creating a web across all of these different platforms so that when people search for you, remember all of these platforms are search engines. And so when people are out there trying to solve their problem, how do I do this? How do I do that? They're going to find you. If you've written your book in the right way, it's going to be persuasive enough to make them think this person is a thought leader in my area. I need to speak to them. So think about this. Think about your book as an asset that is tangible in multiple different ways across multiple different platforms. So all you have to do is capture what is your best client's biggest problem. The subject for your book isn't necessarily everything that you know about everything. It is thinking about what is your best client's biggest problem. Write that book. Write that book and turn that into all of these different materials on these different platforms. Remember, your book as a tangible asset will be found by influencers who are looking for men and women like you to network with. Your book will be found by journalists and media looking for people to interview. The associations and firms who run inspirational conferences, they're looking for speakers every year, every quarter, every month. If you publish a new book, they will find you. If you craft the right title, the right book with the right message, your speaking schedule will just explode. Podcasters, bloggers, I've already said, they have an immense problem because they've got to fill their pages, they've got to fill their airwaves with new speakers every week, every month. So if you come up with a new book, with a new idea, with your thought leadership, they're going to want to interview you and have you share your knowledge with their communities because they want to look up to the minute. They want to look cutting edge. And your cutting edge knowledge can help them. And finally, and this is, I guess, the key point, your book becomes an asset because now clients reading your book will think, we need this product or we need this service or we need this person to help us solve our particular problems. So your book will generate revenue indirectly, not from book sales, but from services to the companies, the clients, the ideal clients that you want to work with. And beyond that, because of interviews that you have with bloggers, networking, relationships that you build with influencers, when you speak on stage, a book is a fantastic, tangible asset. So let me just try to recap. I'm getting way too excited. Capture interviews, specifically the audio for Apple Podcasts, but also if you can do video recording and put that material onto YouTube. That will take you, I guess, 3 to 6 months as you share the early research for your book. In the next 6 to 12 months, launch your book. Get it onto Amazon, initially as a hardback, also the Kindle edition. Those will be read by subtly different people. And then subsequent to the publication of your book, edit out in 1,000-word chunks, 1,200-word chunks, 50, 60, 70 posts that will take a year, maybe 2 years if you only publish on a fortnightly basis. But you could have a year's worth of social media content from your book, all strategic, all focused on the key thing that you're talking about. And the final phase after the initial book launch is create an audiobook. Now, you may have a voice that gets croaky. Maybe you don't feel comfortable speaking your book out. You can hire somebody. I think it would be a good use of your time to maybe get your book read by Amazon Polly. Amazon have a service where you put a piece of text up and their computer-generated voice will read it for you. There are other AI services that will do the same sort of thing. And once you've got an MP3 file, you can upload it to Audible, which is an Amazon service, and you have your MP3 file. Your audiobook is marketable on Audible, is findable on Audible. You have tangibilized your book in multiple different ways. Audio, video, text, brilliant. 3 steps to making sure that your knowledge is made tangible for your ideal clients, and it will attract clients to you because all of these different platforms are search engines. People are out there and they're looking for you. I hope this makes sense. If you're an expert, a coach, a consultant, a thought leader in any area, you really should write a book.